Good morning. Good morning,
Morning.
everybody's.
Morning.
Welcome to First Parish Church in Billerica. We're a Unitarian Universalist welcoming congregation. This is our online service, of course, because of the pandemic. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you're welcome here this morning. And we're so happy to all be here with each other this morning. My name's Brita. I'm going to be the worship assistant for today's service. And our worship leader this morning is Reverend Nannene Gowdy. She is just wonderful. She was our minister for a number of years. She has just been so great with her preaching and giving of herself. And we are so happy to have her with us here this morning. Are there any announcements? I think there are. Okay. Sarah has an announcement.
Just briefly, as a heads up, you probably saw the notice when you logged in. I will be recording it. The goal is to improve our collection of YouTube videos. Thank you so much, Teresa, for the work you've been doing to make them accessible. And if we mute you, don't take it personally.
Okay, great. Somebody else had their hand up. Barbara.
So one is I'm wanted to share the gifts that we got for Cheryl as a retirement present. If Sarah can share those. Cheryl Edwards retired after 15 years of service to First Parish Church. And so I did stop by her house on Friday and drop them off. They came out beautiful. Cheryl, can you share them? Again, we got her a compass and we got her a quilt. And I
closed the tab, but I'll put it back up in a moment. Why don't we save that for the end of the service, and I will have it up by then.
Okay.
Any other announcements? Oh, I have an announcement.
Lisa also has her hand up.
Lisa O'Connor asked me to share that there's going to be a social justice meeting January 13th, which I don't know if it's a Wednesday or Thursday, 7 p.m. On Zoom. So please come to that. Are there any? Oh, Jeannie?
The February 13th is also the date that was posted in the banner for the board meeting. So we might have to figure something out with the dates.
Oh, okay. Well, we can revisit that then. Okay, maybe not. Okay. We'd like to start our service by a land acknowledgement. First Parish Church was built on the unceded land of the Pawtucket and Massachusetts people. We acknowledge the connection that they have continued to maintain with the land here in this place we call Billerica. And we recognize the hardships they have endured and commit ourselves to fostering good relationships with our Indigenous neighbors. And here is our chalice lighting. Nannene will light the chalice as we say the words that are on the screen. Okay. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this
great gift.
What we call a beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive and know the place for the first time. Let's join together in the first hymn, The Dark of Winter, which is going to be on your screen. The words will be on the screen. And we can actually sing since we're not in the congregation.
Suzanne is going to sing upon my accompaniment. Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly. And when my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal, gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me. And then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
That was lovely, Suzanne. Jua, we couldn't really hear the accompaniment, though. At
Okay,
least
I
I
think
couldn't.
I'll take off my headset. That'll probably work better.
Let's join together in the affirmation of faith, which is on the screen. Love is the doctrine of Jesus.
Church.
The quest of
Quest of
truth
truth is the
is sacrament,
Sacrament.
and
and
service
service is
prayer.
prayer.
To
To
dwell
dwell together in
Together
peace,
in peace.
to
to
seek
seek
knowledge,
knowledge and freedom,
to
to
serve
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 humanity and fellowship,
fellowship, to the
the
end
that
end.
all
All
souls
souls
in
harmony
harmony
divine.
with the divine.
Thus we
Thus we covenant
covenant
with each other
with each other
and with God.
God.
Thank you, Jua. Psalm 22, verses 1 to 5. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? so far from my cries of anguish. My God, I call out day by day, but you do not answer. By night, but I find no rest. Yet you are enthroned as the Holy One. You are the one Israel praises. In you, our ancestors put their trust. They trusted you and you delivered them. To you, they cried out and were saved. In you, they trusted and were not put to shame.
This is the time in our service where we do have to remind everyone that our Unitarian Universalist churches are self-supporting. We depend on everyone's help, including any donations that people can afford, and that's what sustains the work of the church. You can donate by, of course, mailing to our post office box, or you can go to the website, which is much easier, and just click on the donate button. I'm wondering, Suzanne, can I ask you to lead the doxology, and we'll just all sing it along with you? Suzanne, are you there?
Sure.
Thank you. You sing so beautifully. Okay, can we all, we're good at this now. Let's all sing the doxology with Suzanne here, leading us.
From all that dwell below the sky, let songs of love and arise. Let peaceful will on earth be sown. To every land, by every tongue. Amen.
Thank you.
This isn't where we are supposed to be. We had just started gathering in person when, bam, the COVID numbers rose and we are back on Zoom. I am frustrated that despite our congregation's best efforts, we have had to step back. I am deeply saddened that so many people are dying unnecessarily. And I am angry that right-wing politicians created an atmosphere of distrust of science, convincing so many people to refuse to get vaccinated, causing variants to spread like wildfire. Sometimes we feel like the person in Psalm 22 who lamented to God. I won't sugarcoat the truth. We are in trouble. We are in trouble in Massachusetts. We are in trouble in the United States. And we are in trouble in the world. At first, it seemed logical that everyone would get vaccinated and COVID would go away, or at least be contained. Most of us were shocked when that didn't happen. This country has gone from banging pans every night to thank healthcare workers for their help to having them assaulted for trying to help the unvaccinated once they have gotten the disease. Just this past week, one of our own, who is a nurse, quit because she was tired and truly frightened by the way she was being treated. As I said, we are in trouble. If we could see that things were getting better, I think we would be all right. But they aren't. Not yet. Depression, anger management issues, and suicide are all on the rise. This crisis has been going on too long, and people are running out of coping mechanisms. On top of all this, climate change is getting worse, and hate groups are on the rise. I got behind a truck the other day that had stickers proudly advertising that the driver is a neo-Nazi. I was on edge and angry for the rest of the drive home. As someone said, the only thing that would make 2022 worse than 2021 is if an asteroid hit the world. We have just been through a major holiday period, and holidays make stress worse. A lot of us right about now feel we personally need some help. The world situation does seem overwhelming, but there are things that we can do to help us cope on a personal level. I am reminded of that wonderful song, "Let There Be Peace on Earth, and Let It Begin with Me," or the saying, "If there is to be world peace, it must begin in the home." So let's look at ways to help us cope. There is no one-size solution for coping in difficult times. Everyone reacts in their own way. So I propose 10 ways that we can learn to cope as we wait for things to get better. And I have it on pretty good scientific authority that that might begin to happen sometime in February. So let's use these 10 to stay in there until then. 1, it's important to pay attention to the stress building up in you. Deal with the source of the stress as soon as possible before it gets worse. Some of us, and I am one, will go along to get along until it builds up and we erupt. When this happens, I have noticed that what seems to cause the eruption is usually not the real problem at all. So I spend some time thinking back to when the stress started building until I find the source and deal with it. This has helped me to see stress when it starts and gives me a chance to deal with it before it becomes an eruption. 2, exercise. You don't have to join a gym to go for a walk. Yard work, including weeding or raking, is good exercise. I used to listen to books while I weeded. I found I could last longer doing that boring job if I had a good book to listen to. Mopping a floor is surprisingly energetic. Put on some of your favorite music, turn it up, and you might find yourself dancing while you mop. Exercise is good for your mental health. Physical exercise releases chemicals called endorphins, which react with your brain to trigger a positive feeling in the body. So exercise actually counters depression. 3, meditate. You don't have to sit in a lotus position chanting Om, although there's nothing wrong with that. I can meditate reading good poetry, slowly thinking about what is being said. I can meditate listening to classical music that moves me to tears by its beauty. I can meditate when I sit and look at a tree, tracing how it grew. To meditate, you have to take some time alone, being in the now, feeling what you are feeling and letting it go. 4, talk to someone. It could be a best friend, a relative, a professional therapist. Everyone needs help coping at some time in their life. There has been a stigma about seeking mental health that has done us great damage over the years. The stigma was so bad that Thomas Eagleton had to withdraw his nomination as Vice President of the United States in 1972, because in the past, he had gotten professional help during bouts of depression. Now that we have hit a time when it is so easy to see that most of us cannot cope alone, maybe that terrible stigma will be removed and people will feel free to seek help when they need it. 5, write down your feelings. For years, we have been told to write letters to people when we get angry at them, but just don't send them. I would extend this to all feelings. What is important is to be able to look at what you are feeling and think about it. It is almost as good as talking to another person. 6, eat healthy food, especially breakfast. During troubled times, it is so tempting to eat comfort food, which is usually fatty, or snacks, which usually have little nutrition. My solution is to not have these things in the house, because if they're there, I know I will eat them. When I am forced to have a snack, I eat an apple with a little blue cheese, and I find it delicious and satisfying. After years of doing this, I find my taste for fried food is completely gone, and peanuts are enough of a snack treat. 7, get adequate sleep. If you are tired, it is harder to cope with just about everything. Some people have trouble falling asleep, like I do. Those of us with this problem have a method that clears out our hive minds. I do menu planning. If I get several days planned and I'm still awake, I pick one meal and go over it in great detail. By this time, I have distracted myself enough from my problems to get to sleep. Whatever scenario you choose, stay with it so it becomes routine and requires little thinking. If I wake up too early, I do the same thing. In both cases, it is important not to let your hive mind wander and make you wide awake. 8, try not to let yourself get really angry. The old count to 10 often works. If it hasn't, count again. Leave the room if you have to. Write your anger out. Call or text someone who loves you enough to listen. Angry responses usually make things worse. That is when things get said that can't be taken back. 9, take a relaxing bath. This is one of my favorites. I add lavender oil since lavender has its own relaxing properties, but any essential oil works. Sometimes I turn out the lights and light a candle. Sometimes I read a book or work a crossword puzzle. What is important is to be able to stay there long enough to relax. Sometimes it takes longer than others, and you will come out wrinkled like a prune, but ready to face the world again. 10. Plan and prioritize your time to reduce stress. People will say they don't have the time for this without realizing that it will actually save them time. These people haven't learned the lesson of St. Francis de Sales, who said, every one of us needs a half hour of prayer every day, except when we're busy. Then we need an hour. Time spent in preparation keeps us from flying off in 10 different directions. It might even make us ready with a plan B, because, as the saying goes, man plans and God laughs. All of these can help us cope with life as it is now. It will also help with life as it is going to be. We have spent a long time hoping for life to return to normal. This has been going on for so long, I am beginning to believe that the old normal will never return, and that we should be planning for a new normal. The best case scenario that I can see is that we will get a regular COVID shot like we do for the flu for the rest of our lives. Worst case, however, is that a new variant will develop that can't be controlled by vaccines. Whatever scenario happens, we should use step 10 to plan and prioritize so that we are not always in a reactive position, bouncing from one variant to the other. We can depend on more deadly diseases to develop in the future, so we need to be ready. We must counter the naysayers who refuse to get vaccinated for political reasons. All of our lives depend on making people realize that the right of everyone to survive is more important than the individual right not to get a shot in the arm. It really has come down to this. If we accept this basic fact, we can unite behind a solution that just might save humanity. Sorry to start the year on such a sober note, but the new year will not be a better one if we don't learn how to cope, thereby being able to act to face the future. I believe we can have a better year than we have been having. If I didn't believe this, if I thought there was no real future, learning to cope would be a waste of time. So let's plan on and work toward a future and a happy new year. Let's join with the final hymn, Guide My Feet, which was on your screen.
Guide my feet grace. Guide my feet while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race, for I don't want to run this race in vain.
Thank you, Suzanne. And thank you, Nannene, for your good suggestions. Please say with me the words that are on the screen as Nannene extinguishes our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the
warmth of community,
or the
or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts
until we are
together
again.
The 1st of January is another day dawning. The sun rising as the sun always rises. The earth moving in its rhythm. With or without our calendars to name a certain day as the day of new beginning, separating the old from the new. For everything is the same, bound into its history as we ourselves are bound. Yet also we stand at a threshold. The new year, something truly new, still unformed, having a stunning power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time, this year? Let us begin by remembering that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness might bloom in our world this year, we are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people. The new year can be new ground for the seeds of our dreams. Let us take the step forward together onto new ground, planting our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy. Amen.